Welcome to the Navigating Dental Insurance Podcast, where we don't take from insurance companies. Here are your hosts, Mr. Jordan Comstock and Mr. Ben Tuine. This podcast is sponsored by BoomCloud Dental Membership Software, www.boomcloudapps.com, and Veritas Dental Resources, www.veritasdentalresources.com. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to another exciting episode of the Navigating Dental Insurance Podcast. My name is Jordan Comstock, your host today. Sadly, Ben is happily in Disneyland. So Ben is not with us today, but we've got an awesome episode. He's hanging out in Disneyland. It seems like we've been going to Disneyland a lot lately and missing each other. So it's just me on the show today, and we've got an awesome guest. Her name is Genevieve from Poppe Practice Management. Genevieve, what is up?
Hi, Jordan.
Thanks for coming on our show. Yeah,
thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here today.
Awesome. Yeah. So Genevieve, how long have we known each other? Was it last year when we got introduced to each other?
I think it was last year that we first talked. Yeah.
Yeah. So we talked last year, and we've talked about bringing you on the show. And you're part of ADMC, correct?
Yes.
I always get ADMC, or if you're part of SCN.
I'm in ADMC right now, probably SCN in the future.
Cool. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking too. So for those of you that don't know what ADMC is, it's the Academy of Dental Management Consultants, which I am a part of, and Genevieve as well. So I think that's how we met each other, through that group. And today we have an awesome episode. We're going to be talking about patient objections. Genevieve, your skill set is like phone skills and really sales skills, right? I mean that's what I really would say.
I know we don't like to always say that in dentistry, but yes,
but that's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah. So, why don't you introduce yourself? How did you get in the industry? How did you get doing what with your business today? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure, absolutely. So I have been in dentistry for over 20 years. I don't like to admit that all the time. It ages me a little bit. But I did start in the industry pretty young. I actually started working in Dr. Smith's office, and I got to leave high school early to do so. So that was very exciting for me. And I've never left. So I was a hygiene assistant in my very early days. I was a dental assistant for many years, a practice manager for many years. And then I ultimately went on to start an affiliate group designed to preserve private practice dentistry in Wisconsin, where I owned and managed 7 dental offices.
Wow.
So I have a really broad operational background, and I help practices in a lot of ways. But this little niche marketing that I've carved out, helping practices grow and capitalize on the marketing that they're already implementing through better phone conversion and better phone skills, and giving their phone teams a chance to build a connection with the callers before they get stuck in difficult questions, which is what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think here at BoomCloud, we use the phone all the time, and that's a training that most of our team members go through, is just understanding phone sales and understanding objections. And I think no matter what business you are in, you're going to have some sort of objections that you need to help educate and get through when you're talking to patients or customers or users. So when you last week, or whenever we talked few weeks ago, when you brought this topic up, I was really excited, because this is a everyday occurrence in the dental practice, and I think just having an episode on this is perfect, right? So let's get into it. There's multiple objections that patients can have in regards to treatment and just dentistry in general. What is the most common objection that you see out there?
So I think even before patients have a chance to have an objection, I think sometimes they just have a question.
Okay.
And what I see really, really commonly happen, and this is just human nature, is that well-intentioned, very smart, kind people will pick up the phone and say, "Thank you for calling Dr. Jones's office. This is Genevieve. How can I help you?" And invariably, one of the first things that a patient does is ask you a question. So they'll say something like, do you take my insurance? Or how much is this? Or can I have just a cleaning? And because we're programmed to have like really negative responses about the type of human this must be for asking us this question.
How dare they ask me that question?
Right? If they want to know if I take their insurance, they must only care about insurance. We go straight to these wild assumptions. That's kind of the first step, is just learning to not be thrown by a question, and that a patient would start with a question. They picked up the phone with the intention to schedule with us, and it's our job to make that happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think the first thing that I really have to teach people is learn to put away your judgment about their first question. That's the first thing. And
totally.
Also learn to not answer it in the first 30 seconds of a phone call.
Okay.
Right. So
why do you say that? I'm just curious because that.
Yeah. So here's the reason why. If you say to me, do you take my insurance? And I say to you, well, we take everybody's insurance, but we're not a participating provider. Mm-hmm. What do you hear?
I just heard at that tail end, we're not a participating provider. So that's what I remembered.
You hear no.
Yeah. I heard no. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the call is over.
Yeah.
It's done. I hear them end in 30 seconds all the time in my job as a phone skills coach. Listen to a lot of recorded calls. And so what I want to do is teach team members to get a chance to learn a little bit more about a person. So kind of put a pin in their question for like 1 minute, because the way I'm going to answer your question will be different based on what I come to know about you.
Totally. Yeah.
Right. And if I can get a chance to understand why you might be asking that question, or why you're starting there, or what's important to you, I have a much better shot at overcoming your objection, don't I?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. One, you'll like me invariably because I'm nice. I'm from Wisconsin and everybody likes me.
Of course. Yes.
there is a real, it really does matter if people can draw a connection to you and like you on the phone.
Totally.
It's not just answering the phone and making an appointment and hanging up. It's not an interruption to your day. It's the lifeline of your practice.
Yeah.
It's no small thing. It's only everything. It's how we fill our schedule.
It's how you get business.
Exactly. So every phone call matters. It's never a waste of time. And judging people based on the first question they ask you is a really dangerous thing to do.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I have learned it firsthand and help people realize this over and over again, that I cannot tell you how many times that when I teach people how to do this, and this is very simple, I'm going to tell you right now how to do it. Instead of answering the question, I want you to say some version of, you know what, I can check on that for you. What is your name?
Okay, yeah.
Just
answering with a question.
It's just moving past it for a second. Let them know that you're willing to help and move past it for just a second, right?
Yeah.
And then I can get to before I check on this Delta plan you have, tell me a little bit about what we need to bring you in for.
Yeah, get to know their problem, get to know what they're coming in for. I just think here in our business here at Boom Cloud, we don't work with patients, but we have people calling in every day asking questions, and I think it's good to pause for a minute and ask questions back to get the information. Because the more information you have, the better you can help that
if you
other
can
person.
Get to a couple of open-ended questions where the caller is doing the talking. First of all, they're doing the work. If they're talking to you, you're inherently building a connection.
Totally.
It's happening, right?
Agree.
So learning to ask a couple of open-ended questions that help you to discover a little bit more about a person. I cannot tell you how many times people don't believe this until they do it. I swear to you. People will call and say, oh, do you take Delta Dental? And then we, teach them to put that question, aside for just a second. And then when I say, well, tell me a little bit about what we need to get you in for, people will say things like, well, I'm thinking I want to get veneers, or I maybe want to do some whitening, or I've been out of the office for, 15 years and I've got several broken teeth and I really need to do something about it. And when you learn something like that, are you going to answer that person's insurance question a little bit differently than you would the mother who just wants to schedule her 3 kids for their summer cleaning?
Absolutely, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, totally.
From a sales perspective, you are in a completely different place.
Yeah.
And honestly, most people working the dental office actually probably have the knowledge to overcome the objection later in the phone call if they understand the context of the caller.
Totally. I agree with that 100%.
Right.
I mean, we see that here when I had, in the early days, I had some office managers that worked for me here at BoomCloud, and they obviously understood the industry and things like that, but they did exactly what you're saying here. When somebody asked them a question, they just would go and answer it. And they didn't step back and take time to get some context and understand, exactly where that person is coming from or who they are. They just go. Right.
I think the thing you have to believe is that, and some people say to me, they just want to know if we take their insurance. This is always the response I get back. And I say, okay, but let me just ask you 2 questions. One, do you think you could better answer their question if you knew a little bit more about what type of care they needed? And they're like, well, yeah. And I said, and 2, do you think you might be able to overcome any objections they have a little bit easier if they like you? Well, yeah. So then try this.
Absolutely. Please try this. No matter what you do, whether you're in dentistry or not, business is a relationship game. And to me, it's very important to go about with every relationship that you're trying to build in the industry, or in your market, right? Mm-hmm. That you should take the time and get to know who you're talking with and who these people are. Relationships are key to growing any type of business. And
I just want to give, and most of the people answering the phones, not all, sometimes there's frankly the wrong person answering your phone.
Yeah.
What's
a good example of the wrong way to answer a phone, Genevieve?
Well, I think my favorite, and I love my East Coast clients, but the most cringeworthy for me is the doctor's office. That's
doctor's office, yeah.
So, that's my least favorite starting point.
Uh-huh.
I've had some people argue with me that they don't have time to say thank you for calling.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes. People don't want to hear all that. They're just in such a rush. There comes this point. 2 things I see happening. One, I see a lot of people that move into front desk positions, which includes, as a large part of the role, answering the phone. But really, they're up there because they know a lot about insurance, or they like insurance, or they love to, they love to do claims, right? I hate doing insurance too. And they almost view answering the phone as an interruption to entering their Delta check.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like this. You could hear the almost annoyance the second they pick up the phone, like you're interrupting them. The other
tone. Would you say tone? That's a huge factor of.
Huge factor. If you can't legitimately put a smile on your face when you pick up the phone, you might not be designed to answer the phone.
Hello, Dr. Smith's office. This is Jennifer.
Sometimes I hear the actual sigh. Hello. It's just like. So it's so painful. So I think there are, not that I want to commission all extroverts out there, but there is something you have to ask yourself. Clearly, as you talk to me, you can probably tell that I'm an extrovert.
Totally, yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And this call energizes me. I love talking to people.
Yeah.
There are people who, when they answer the phone and when they have to talk to people to the day who are on the more introverted side of the spectrum, that drains them.
It does, yeah.
They have to go home and sit in a quiet space. It takes it all out of them.
Yeah. So I'm an extrovert like you, and my wife is actually an introvert, and every time she has to get on the phone and talk to somebody, or just even face to face with people, she really is drained, and I'm the exact opposite. I get energized talking to people.
Right.
And she's often now she will text me and we'll ask, hey, could you call and schedule a time with these guys, or can you call and order the pizza? I don't want to talk to him. It's too much for me. So I agree with you. It's
right. So would you hire her to answer your phone?
No, I would not. No. She's very good at other things, but answering
probably
phones,
be really nice, but she might not really love it.
Yeah, it just drains her, right?
Yeah. So I think it's having the right person who legitimately likes talking to people. That's one thing. And then it's having the right skills to know how to give yourself the opportunity to chat with the person before you hop into answering their questions. I mean, that's the other. I honestly, it's very rare that I encounter a person who naturally can take a step back like that or recognize what that does for them. But once I can train people to do it, they can experience the results. So I will tell you, doctors, if you're sitting here listening to this thinking that this probably isn't a problem for you, it probably is.
Oh, yeah.
It's every office that I look at, there's opportunity and lost leads every single time. I've never seen it not be an issue. So if you have access to call recording, through a marketing tracker, take a listen and just see how that's going.
Yeah, there's
have awareness.
What's the company name? Do you know Dr. Christopher Phelps? He's part of ADMC.
Yeah.
He does the Call Tracker ROI.
Call Tracker ROI. There's lots of call recording companies.
Yeah, there's tons. And Dr. Phelps does one. And as many of you guys know, listening to this show, he's been on our show multiple times. He's a good friend of ours.
He has a great one. He has some great statistics, too, about the number of missed opportunities.
Yeah, and I think there's so many missed opportunities. And even practices not answering their phone, right?
Yes.
That's a huge problem out there. It's like, wow, you're...
Yeah. Do you think that new patient's going to call you back after lunch? Nope.
No.
It's not going to happen.
No, they're not.
And I don't want to totally quote Dr. Phelps's material, but I saw a statistic from him, and I've seen from other call recording dashboards, that the average practice in an active marketing campaign is only converting about a third of their new patient leads.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
That's an F. Right?
Yeah, that's an F, yeah.
That's an F. So, that's not good.
So answering the phone and developing these skills is a way they can generate new patients, right?
Yeah.
Practices may be having, they might be having, a ton of calls every month coming in, but they may not be answering their phone right. So those leads, those new potential patients are just going away and finding another practice because
and I don't think skills. Honestly, sorry to cut you off there, Jordan.
Totally
I think honestly that a lot of teams recognize those types of calls as missed opportunities.
Yeah. So
usually when I talk to team members, I say, how do you think your new patient conversion is? They'll say, good, pretty much everybody schedules. Right.
Yeah.
And I say, well, what about
that's not true in general. Like, even if you have a rock solid system, that's not going to be true.
Right. So when I say, well, what about people who call and say, do you take Blue Cross? They're like, well, they just want to know if we take their insurance.
Yeah.
So they're not counting those in their tally of how good they're doing.
Yeah.
They just view it as an inquiry, not an opportunity.
Absolutely. That's interesting that you see that out there, because
totally.
To me, every new call is an opportunity when we get, and again, I'm thinking about my business here at Boom Cloud. When we get new calls, or a lot of people come in, they'll schedule calls with our team, but we do get inbound calls that come in, and every time our sales team sees their sales line ring, it's like a race to pick it up. Like all the sales guys, who gets this? Like this is
getting paid as salespeople.
Yeah, they are.
Right? Front desk people are not.
Yeah, that's very true. That's a good point. I didn't even think about it that way. Because my team, they get paid as salespeople, and every phone call, every inbound inquiry is a opportunity for them, right, to make a sale and to help the company grow. And I think that's what the mindsets front office should have as well. Like every phone call. I just
don't think it's we have such a sales aversion in our industry.
Yeah.
That I think a lot of team members are not comfortable with thinking of it that way. But I'm not kidding you. Back in my phone answering days when I worked as an office manager, I literally would schedule people who called the wrong number or thought they called a different dentist.
Are you serious? That's
yes,
awesome.
I viewed it very much that way. And I just felt very strongly that I worked for the best dentist around and everybody should go there.
Yeah. And there is a big difference when you believe in the place you're working at. And I think that's very important for all the doctors listening. Make sure that's, the people you hire, make sure that they are, they're motivated and believe in your practice and what you guys are doing.
They have to have a passion level that matches yours.
They do.
I want to say this, doctors deserve people that are enthusiastic cheerleaders for their practice.
Yep.
And team members deserve doctors that are worthy of cheerleading.
Exactly.
You know,
100%.
it's a two-way street.
It is. It's
You
a
don't get to
relationship.
be a jerk to your team every day and then expect that they, adamantly promote you.
Yeah,
But
that's not going to happen that way. I don't know if you knew this. It seems like everybody in my family, Genevieve, works in the dental industry. My wife used to work for a dental office as well, and she had one dentist that she worked for that was just like rude to his employees, and she eventually left because she wasn't happy there, and it's challenging when you're in that type of work environment. But she never promoted his office. She would promote another office that she knew about, and eventually went to work at that office. But
isn't that horrible?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, she would always say, "Yeah, you should go to Dr. So-and-so because he's really good. He's a great clinician, and he can do what you need done." She never would refer the doctor that she worked for, right? So
that's heartbreaking.
Yeah,
it makes me sad.
And he was her neighbor too.
Oh my gosh.
Growing up, yeah. So
that's bad.
Yeah, double bad, right?
Yeah, that's really bad.
Sorry, I went off topic there.
No, totally. I think it's just sort of. I'm glad we could take just a second to maybe shine a little spotlight on, like, doctors really look at this. Like, really evaluate who you have doing it and how much training have you ever given them. Most companies, most sales companies, most customer service companies, you have to, like, shadow a person and learn a phone process before you're ever allowed to touch their phones and represent their company.
Yeah.
And in dental offices, it's like literally the first thing we have people help us with. Hey, can you pick up that phone that's ringing? It's like 5 seconds on the job and you're picking up the phone.
True, yeah.
We invest tons of money in training and coaching for clinical team members, and nothing for that intake.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking here, again, at BoomCloud, I keep relating to what we're doing here, because, again, we use the phones. It's like one of our number one tools. And we just hired a new person, and we have not let her answer the phone. Well, now she is, but in the early days, when she was going through her training, she would sit on calls and listen to how one of our other employees.
One of your best, probably.
One of our best was, exactly, how he was answering the phone and how he was treating people, and he's really good at asking questions and breaking it down and getting it clear, which is exactly what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
We let all of our team go through that and listen, and then after a certain period of time, they're done listening to our very best. Then we sit on their calls and listen. We record every call, and then we listen to them and kind of grade them and coach them to become better, right? And we're always trying to optimize it. And yeah, that's what we do here, Genevieve. And we do that with our small team, and we make sure that we're trying to get better and at least aware that we can improve always.
Yes. Well, and in dentistry, we tend to have these sort of sensitive team dynamics, and the idea of listening to a recorded phone call and receiving feedback on it is sometimes, like, terrifying when I work with teams. Like,
yeah, I bet
they're petrified. They feel like they're going to throw up about to listen to this call.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to say that I've developed a process to help people feel pretty comfortable with it. And so what I tell doctors that are trying to actually use the recordings that they have with their teams is that I liken it to game tape, right? So you were a wrestler, I think.
Yep, I was. Yeah.
Right? Were your matches videotaped?
Yeah, we videotaped them, and then afterwards,
you sat down with the coach, and they broke it down.
We sat down with the coach, and then my dad was also a wrestler, and we would have after we got done with the match or whatever, we would get home, and then we would watch how we did certain moves, and then my dad would critique us, our coaches would critique us on what we should have done, and you get the next match, you're that much better, right? Because you're aware and you're conscious of what you did wrong.
And there's things you don't think you're doing wrong until you see it on the tape.
Yeah, because it may be subconscious, or you're just habits, right? That we have that we build up, and again, here we record our sales conversations and our support conversations, and I will
And
get in
people are
there.
better.
Yeah.
Because you talk about it.
I'll go and listen to it, me personally, and I'll listen to everything, and then what I'll do is, if I have tips, I'll write them down, and then I'll go meet with that person and say, hey, I listened to your phone call with so-and-so. I thought you did awesome. Here's a few things that I think you can improve on. And that's kind of how we help each other out, right? And then
it's not a thing you get in trouble for. It's a thing you learn from.
No,
right.
Nobody ever gets in trouble here, because at least my philosophy, and I think every business owner, and practice owner out there should want to help improve their team. I believe in my people, and I think practice should believe in their people, and maybe the dentist or office manager may not be the best person to help them, improve their phone skills or whatever it is, but you can always find somebody like yourself, Genevieve, and others out there that could help coach them and
provide that feedback and
help
them learn to review their own game tape. I actually teach my team. So one, I introduce it as game tape, and I tell them that
that's awesome.
The people who are the best in the world at what they do, if a major league batter was going to learn a new swing, which is what we're asking them to do this thing that you've been doing forever, totally different. Right? What they would do is work with a coach, and they would film themselves over and over and over again trying to implement that new swing. And that's why they're paid millions of dollars, because they can focus and work on things that, even if it's new, even if it's a new thing that their team needs them to do. Everybody who's been an athlete can
relate.
Think of it that way. But, even non-athletes like myself, I'm more of a fan. If I speak, I would tape it. If I'll listen back to this podcast to see where I slipped up, or I could have
slipped up. Yeah, I do that all the time with podcasts I go on. I'm like, oh man, I shouldn't have said that there, or I should explain. If I said it this way, it would have been easy. It would have been clear for our listeners on that. Like, I'm always doing that, and even I'm big into music, right? I do a ton of music, and every once in a while I go to the recording studio. And then we record ourselves, and even before we go to the studio, before we record the final version, we're recording ourselves at home on just simple recording devices, and we're listening and tweaking. And that should be the same mindset with improving the phone skills and conversions in your practice, right?
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
There you go. That's my
we're totally on the same page.
Yeah.
So
super cool. Yeah.
Yes.
So what?
Don't be afraid to use that tool if you have it, or ask somebody outside for some help on how to talk to teams about
when you help
what you're hearing.
When you help with the practice, do you have a software that you use to help them record the calls, or do you just refer?
So I find that a lot of them,
they already have it.
If they're working with a marketing company, they're recording. Usually, there's a new patient lead tracking of some sort. So a lot of them have some form of call tracking. If not, it kind of depends on who they use for marketing. Because if I know that company, I'll say, well, I know that they have this program.
Okay.
I have used Call Tracker ROI. Another one that I really like is Smart Market Dental,
cool.
Which has some analytics behind it. So there's a couple of them out there that I go to. If budget's really a concern, then I have a couple other go-tos.
Cool.
So
awesome.
It doesn't really matter to me what exactly the software is. Just record them. You just need the data.
Yeah. Just you pull out an iPhone and have somebody record it and then analyze it after if you're on a tight budget, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's so cheap to do it. You can get just a new patient number on your website and 100 minutes of call recording for under $100 in some cases. And having access to what that sounds like is really important. A lot of times what I hear, Jordan, is this is the thing that I commonly find, is that I'll talk to the doctor in many cases who are really kind people who've done tons of training and work on the patient's experience, and they're killing themselves from a clinical experience standpoint. And then I'll hear their phone calls and there's a massive disconnect between what I experience from the doctor versus how I experience their call, their practice from a first call standpoint.
Yeah.
And so I think having sort of a matching, you're sort of setting the tone for what's to come with that visit.
Totally. Yeah.
Right. It's not a transaction. It's your first date.
Yeah, and that's exactly how it should be thought about. I mean, it's just like we've been saying, it's a relationship game. No matter what business you're in, don't treat it transactional. It's a relationship game, and like you said earlier, when you take the time to build a relationship with a potential patient, they're more likely to listen and to trust you when they have those objections, right?
And you know what is the added bonus? They're also more likely to show up.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true.
It's totally true.
Yeah, because they know you, you know them. They're like, well, I don't want to let them down. I know them. You know,
They're not gonna fail an appointment on me. They already know my dog's name.
Yeah, they know my dog's name.
They're bringing me pictures of the cruise they're going on. Whatever, you know,
totally,
like,
yeah.
To me, if your new patients don't walk in and, you know, like ask to talk to you, you didn't do your job. So I take it pretty to a next level, but I think there are just moderate improvements that can be made. And kind of circling back to where we started all of this, the first one is just not casting judgment and not just diving into that first question. Because if you're diving into that first question, what you're doing is you're building a transactional conversation. You're trying to lead with information. And as you know, in the relationship game, that doesn't work.
It doesn't work. No way.
It doesn't.
So, okay. First, what was the first thing you said?
Step one, don't answer the question out of the gate.
Don't answer the question out of the gate. Step back, take some time to ask some open-ended questions.
Step two, get their name and ask some open-ended questions.
Yeah.
Right? Just
totally.
Get them talking. And that's a hard thing to teach people to do because it feels very vulnerable. Like they're afraid they won't. When they're just answering a question, you can feel very confident. You know the answer.
You can.
Right? But when you open it up to just like hearing their life story or letting them talk about their bad last visit or, you know, whatever the case may be, I think a lot of team members feel a little bit lost or uncomfortable in that. Yeah. But you can build people up. You can start with some example questions. A way that I like to do it is I always sort of move into that question asking phase of the call just by saying, tell me. Yeah. So tell me about these veneers you want. Tell me about this implant you need. Tell me what we need to bring you in for this new patient visit. You know, and tell me anything. Yeah. You know? Tell me about this toothache you have.
That strategy is, I mean, at least what we call it here, we call it like using probing questions is what we say. Is that what you use when you talk to practices about this, or?
So I think probing questions are maybe like next level experienced, right? Like if I can just get them to learn to ask one or two just open-ended questions, and the example I like to use is, a lot of times, like if a patient, existing or new, calls and says that I broke a tooth. Oh my gosh, I broke my front tooth, right? Or, oh my gosh, I broke a tooth this weekend. First of all, like that's a big deal to them. Yeah. And to us, it's not, right? Because we hear it all the time. And so I hear them miss the opportunity to say something like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry about that, right? Like empathy is oftentimes shockingly missing from these phone calls because we're desensitized.
Totally. I can totally see that. Yeah.
And then, so we're like, I'm not kidding you. Usually what I hear people say to that statement is, okay, the word okay. And then they'll say, is it an upper or lower tooth?
And they're like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't use that vocabulary right. When I'm talking about my teeth.
Right. Is it upper, lower, right, left? Is it 3 from the back? Is it 4 from the back? They want to go into like all this detailed information gathering when instead what they should say is, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. Tell me what happened. Yeah. You know, and in that process, you're probably going to answer all the questions you would have asked them. Mm-hmm. And the reality is if they have a broken tooth, we need to get them in. Is it super important that you know exactly if it's 3 from the back or 4 from the back? I don't think so.
No, it's not.
Right? It's just like, that's not the important part of this call. And, I think that's probably the hardest part of what I teach people is learning to just open up a conversation and know that it can go anywhere and that you know enough to bring it back to where it needs to be, which is, oh my gosh, we need to get you in here.
Yeah, no, I
right?
think these are great. These are great tips for every practice, and no matter what stage you practice in, if you feel like your team has like nailed this, you can always improve.
Mhm.
And I think it's very important to take a step back and analyze what your staff and what you are doing if you're a staff member in regards to your just phone conversations, because it's such a huge tool for a practice
Mhm.
that just needs to get better, in my opinion.
I think the other thing that I find really interesting as I listen in on calls and as I work with teams on improving this, tiny yet amazingly huge thing for practices, is that oftentimes, just very unintentionally, policies that the doctors set or expectations that the doctors set in unintentionally inhibit the team's ability to make appointments or to make conversions
Mm-hmm.
or to understand their priorities. And so, like, my best example of this is years ago, actually, when I still had my group in Madison. I had two offices that were three miles apart. Same marketing campaign. One had like 45 new patients a month, 3 miles away, both in very nice neighborhoods. The other one was having like 10 new patients a month. It didn't make sense.
Wow. Yeah.
I just was like really thrown by it. So anyway, the more suffering practice on the other side, and the 3 miles away, the office manager had to take a few days off, and I didn't have anybody to cover it. So I found myself there answering the phone. And in the 2 days I was there, I scheduled 15 patients. I scheduled
Holy smokes! In just
just
2 days.
yeah, because the phone was ringing off the hook because we were spending a lot of money in marketing. And so this was like one of my early insights into not everybody answers the phone the way I answer the phone. But what happened was and this will always stick with me. I got a call from a young guy. There was a college nearby this office.
Uh-huh.
And the first thing he said to me is, do you guys require that your new patients have a full mouth series of x-rays? It's a very specific question.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that if my other practice manager had been there that day, she would have said, yes, we do.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Because we had an x-ray policy that new patients have an FMX.
Yeah.
Right? That's just how it was. And instead, what I said was, well, we really like to have one, but tell me why you ask.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, he's young, I can tell. So I could just see seemed strange to me that there be such a stance on him having an FMX. So he says to me, well, I've been going to the dentist for a long time, and I'm 23, and it's their policy that I had a panoramic x-ray because I have wisdom teeth, but it's their policy that I have an FMX, he says, an FMX. And I'm like, so I know some well-meaning front desk person at that other team has lost a doctor this patient over their policy.
Yeah.
Right? Which totally. I'm sure this doctor would die to know that he lost a patient over $100 FMX. Right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, do you have, a lot going on? Are they worried about some things? And he's like, no, it's just that they have this policy, and I'm at this age where I have to have both of those films. And I said, okay, how about this? I'm like, why don't we just get you in for, a new patient visit? And if you need an FMX, it's on the house.
Nice.
Right. You bring your panoramic. If you need it, it's on me. And so he's like, oh, okay. And then all of a sudden the weight came off of him.
That's a huge trust. Like you gained, I bet, a bunch of trust just by saying that to him, because that was his concern.
Yeah. And then here's the beautiful thing. Right after that, we make his new patient appointment for a cleaning exam, and he's going to bring his x-rays. And he said to me, he's like, hey, by the way, do you guys do Invisalign? And I was like, we do. Yeah, our doctor does Invisalign. And he's like, oh, good, because my parents just said I can get Invisalign and that they'll pay for it.
Nice.
And I also would really like to whiten while I do it. So,
boom.
This doctor freaking lost an Invisalign case, a whitening case, and a patient.
Yeah.
Because
a lifetime patient.
Yeah, a lifetime patient. His parents went there.
Yeah.
Forever. He lost all of these things because somebody was trying to enforce a policy.
Yeah.
And so it's very eye-opening, and something that I kind of watch for is, are are policies that you have in the office creating roadblocks on the way in, and is the team really empowered enough to do something like that?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I
because
agree.
winning patient relationships, sometimes you just have to give something, and you have to lose that negative stance of like, well, if they can't afford an FMX, why do we even want them here? And blah, 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 blah. And I hear this negative talk all the time.
Yeah, and there's, I mean, it's the law of reciprocity, right? By giving
Yes.
that patient something at no charge, it's, I mean, for those of you that understand the law or don't understand the law of reciprocity, it's basically giving, right? You give somebody something of value, and they're more likely to give you value in return, right? And that's something I think most practices need to understand, that that's an important tactic or tool, not tactic, tool to help gain trust and get those new patients, right? A good example of that from what we do here is I give a bunch of free education, like our ebook. We give all sorts of stuff out for free, and then it builds trust. It really does. And I think practices could find ways of doing that, like your example there, Genevieve, of saying, hey, it's on the house. We'll help you out with that.
Right.
That was huge for that patient, and I guarantee you that their trust for you initially, was high. And I think we as an industry need to do more of that.
I agree. I think we're just, sadly, I mean, if you read any blogs or publications, what you see like every time is the insurance-driven patient, money-driven patients. People don't understand the value of our dentistry, and they don't. That's the reality. They don't understand the value of your dentistry, but people do understand the value of relationships, and they can come to understand what differentiates you. But that's not where they start.
No, nope, nobody starts that way.
There's not a magic number of patients out there who get you, and they're going to call you and want to spend more money with you, and I think that's unfortunately like a really damaging belief that was generated a while ago. Yeah. And it's really not true.
I agree. I agree 100% with you there. Well, Genevieve, this has been an awesome episode. I think I don't want to go too long here, because I think this has been, I want to focus on just what we've done. Do you have any final thoughts before we share your information and everything there?
My final thoughts are just that I just want to implore people to take a listen. Yeah. Just maybe raise some awareness that even with a really awesome team, this might be a weakness for you. And it might be a way that you can grow your practice without spending another penny more.
Totally.
In your marketing. And two, I just want to, if nothing else, just encourage people who are answering the phone to try to remove judgment from where a patient starts. What their first question doesn't define who they are, and it's oftentimes not even the thing that's most important to them.
Totally.
And I think you're going to give out my contact info, but if you want to email me, I have a couple of resources. Like I have a new patient intake form that I'd be happy to send out.
Yeah.
And a call evaluation sheet to use for listening to the calls you're listening to.
Cool. Yeah. What's your email?
So my email is a long one, but it's Genevieve at Poppe, spelled Poppe, practicemanagement.com. You could find, you can email me from my website, or, Google me and find me pretty easily online. Totally. But I'm happy to help, and I'm always free to, answer questions or talk to people. So you can even find me on Facebook and shoot me a message, and it's Genevieve Poppe. There's not a lot of us.
Yeah, you got a really unique name, so people, it's easy to find you.
It's easy to hunt me down.
Yeah. What do you have a website as well?
Yep, it's PoppePracticeManagement.com. Again, it sounds like the poppy flower, but it's spelled Poppe.
Awesome. So go there, check out what Genevieve's doing. I highly recommend calling Genevieve and getting all the resources she has and talking to her about helping your practice improve the phone skills, because it's such a huge, awesome tool that you need to take advantage of in your practice. So, Genevieve,
absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming on our show. This has been an awesome episode, and I wish you the best what you're doing out there in the industry.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a quick and fun one.
Totally,
Time has flown by. Absolutely.
It went by quick, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thanks for all of you guys listening out there. We hope you have a great one.